I did not want to talk about this case, the Jussie Smollet case. I promise you I did not, but my girlfriend Sawa and Nana insisted, so this video is dedicated to the both of you. They recommended that I provide my legal perspective of this spectacle. To be honest, I really didn't have one, other than it was pure unadulterated nonsense from the beginning once we learned all the facts, and I really didn't want to spend any more energy on it. It was just pure buffoonery. And anyone who knows me knows I have a very low threshold for nonsense, and this is no different. But in being consistent with the topics of this channel, we discuss scam artists. We discuss con men, con artists, scammers, whatever you want to call it. And that's exactly what Jussie Smollett is. A con man. He tried to con the American public. Scam the world, for that matter. For whatever reason, none of us will really know the truth. For more money, for more fame, to be the poster child for social justice issues. And you know why it's so intolerable and disgusting at this point? He won't stop.
Artistry. I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal. And I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
The jig is up. But he won't admit to it. He won't back down. And as a matter of fact, he just doubles down on his pity party, this victim narrative, getting his narcissistic supply from anyone and everyone by any means necessary. And in this case, the American public. He will do anything to keep the gaze of viewers, no matter how disgraceful and deplorable the behavior. Before I go any further, this is the legal code, and on this channel we discuss a wide range of legal topics, whether that's to help your small business get to the next level or celebrity shenanigans that we can all learn from. No matter what, we discuss it here, and if you like that sort of thing, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course share with anyone you think will find value. Also, I have some slots available for legal coaching, so if you would like the opportunity to work with me one-on-one to troubleshoot your business, there's some slots available, and we will break down next steps for you, what you're missing, any pitfalls that you may be facing, and it's a really, really enriching experience, and I guarantee you'll find value. So if you would like that opportunity, there's a link in the description box. Also, I have legal code merch that was newly released maybe just a few weeks ago. I'm really excited about it. It's my first time having merch. So if you would like the opportunity to purchase, that is also in the description box. So by now we all are aware Jussie Smollett was recently and finally sentenced to 150 days in jail and 30 months parole, I believe. And if you ask me, I don't think it's enough. I don't think he's truly learned his lesson. He will probably serve 60 days or so and be out with good behavior, I speculate. But the sentencing is based on state guidelines. For those who are curious, the judge did not have a lot of wiggle room and discretion to go higher or lower, so he has to follow the guidelines. And he pretty much said that in his statement. So he was found guilty. Jussie was found guilty on five counts rather than 6 counts for false reports for an anti-gay and anti-black hate crime that he reported to the police. So for those who are unfamiliar, he contrived this entire elaborate story that he was attacked by white men who beat him up, poured bleach on him, and then put a noose on his head. He said it was an anti-gay attack, anti-black attack, because the attackers at the time made racial slurs during the attack, as well as homophobic slurs. All lies. All lies. He contrived this ridiculous story. I mean, he had no bounds with how far he would go. He lied to the police that he was attacked by these white guys, when in fact it was these brothers that he hired to beat him up. He hired them and paid them. They were the ones, in fact, who exposed his story almost immediately, and his whole tale fell apart. But he still will not admit defeat. And he picked these men because he knew they idolized him, they looked up to him, and he probably bargained some sort of like, I'll help them get into Hollywood, get more opportunities for them. What he did was so damaging to true hate crime victims. He undermined the legitimate stories of real victims just for attention. Something as trivial as attention. Now, true victims have to wonder if they will be believed because of the Jussie Smollet debacle. He has set the precedence for distrust for true victims. He wanted attention so badly, and he knew the country was so broken and trying to rectify injustices, trying to rectify racial injustice. Racial injustice was in all of our minds, and he tried to optimize his 15 minutes of fame to exploit it for wrongdoing, for selfish gain, for something as frivolous as attention, to be the poster child for the schism of America so he could go down in history as being a victim of hate crime. And then throwing a national pity party for himself, derailing the entire cause, and the new spectacle. Any black person knows if the unfortunate, dire incident happens where someone tries to intimidate us with a noose, it's removed immediately if we walk away with our lives. We would not walk around with a noose, go into the police station with the noose around our neck to legitimize it really happening. It's enough to mention it because it's so dastardly, such a trigger for black people that anyone who knows, anyone who's studied hate crime knows like how victims of hate crime behave. And the judge sensed that Smollett's reaction and behavior were inconsistent with how true hate crime victims behave. He's a seasoned judge. He sees this all the time, unfortunately. And he said that as being part of the criminal court for years, that he knows what a person looks like when they've been a victim of a hate crime. They are distrustful, they're anxious, they have trepidations about coming forward, they have distrust toward the police. Jussie displayed no reluctance. He was just gung-ho, ready to tell his story. Celebrities, politicians, they jumped on the bandwagon. They rushed to defend him publicly. And Chicago police, they deployed resources for the case because they thought it was a possible hate crime. And they soon figured out it was not, that it was totally orchestrated and the incident was paid. It was a paid play. And it was just a stage incident for publicity. What I thought was so interesting was that in his sentencing, the judge said that there's a side to him that's so arrogant and selfish and narcissistic that's just disgraceful. And I wholeheartedly agree with the judge. The judge hit the nail right on the head.
For yourself, you know, why would you do such a thing? Why would you? I understand you crave the attention so much, but why would you betray something like social justice issues, which you care so much about? The only thing I could conclude is that, and I acknowledge, there are wonderful sides to you. There are very giving and charitable and loving sides to you. But you have another side of you that is profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic. That's the only thing that can be concluded. And that bad side of you came out during the course of all these events. Let me talk about hate crimes for a minute.
Went on to say, you're not a victim of racial hate crime. You're not a victim of homophobic hate crime. You're just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of hate crime. And that's shameful. Exactly. Absolutely shameful. And that sums it up for me. Shameful, opportunistic, fraudulent. I mean, I could go on and on. That's my legal perspective. That's my opinion. He's wasting people's time. He's wasting resources, the resources of Chicago. Anyone who knows Chicago, the place is laden with crime. I mean, to direct resources to this fool when they could have been gone toward real legitimate crimes where police and the population are just walking over dead bodies. The city is on fire, and he wanted to siphon resources so that he could be the poster child for social justice issues, as if the social justice arena doesn't have enough things to tackle. Also, Jussie's premeditation of this extreme story. He had a script. He had scheduled rehearsals. It's so ridiculous. He hired his actors. He had props, the noose, the bleach, whatever you may be. Totally orchestrated. Imagine if he put that energy into something productive. And that's what makes this even more dastardly, because it was just a misuse of resources and talent. The judge, at Smollett's request, also agreed to put him in protective custody in his own cell, which will be monitored by cameras in the cell and an officer wearing a body cam who's stationed right there to make sure there's no incidents that happens, because he is a celebrity. And I do think that's reasonable. He's not a violent criminal, so he should not be part of the general population of violent criminals. I think he should be protected. And when he's out, he'll probably write a tell-all about his stint in jail for however many days it ends up being. Yep, I could see it, because he wants to be the poster child of something by any means necessary. He has to keep this tale going. Even dragging his sisters and his brothers in. I mean, hopefully they don't tank their careers by association with him. That's the hope. But he doesn't seem like it seems like he's drowning and he's going to drag anyone else down with him. The worst part of it all was that he was privileged. He was smart, he was good looking, healthy as far as we can tell, flourishing career. What did he earn? $65,000 an episode? That's 2, sometimes 3 people's salaries for the year. He had the fame, he had the success, all the trappings of a successful career, almost on the brink of becoming a household name. But this wasn't enough. He had no gratitude for how fortunate he had come. And so he needed to contrive a story. He needed to be something bigger than what he already was fortunate enough to have become. More attention, more money. And that's exactly what he got. He got more attention, but not in the way that he bargained for. I don't think he imagined the backlash. I don't think he imagined the backlash. No, he thought he would take this, hit a home run, and become the icon of social justice issues. And what you saw in court, that whole meltdown, was textbook gaslighting. This is the MO for narcissists and scam artists.
Artistry.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal. And I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
For those who are familiar with gaslighting, it's a form of manipulation. It usually occurs in abusive relationships. It's emotional abuse where the bully just misleads the victim, creating a false narrative and making them question their judgment and reality. So essentially making them think they're crazy or questioning their own reality. This is exactly what Jussie is doing in the court, this whole spectacle, making us doubt his guilt. And despite all of the evidence that supports he's guilty, he's making us doubt that. Just some history. The term gaslighting is not even a technical term. It's a colloquialism based on a 1930s film, and then it became, no, a 1940s film, I believe. It was a noir film where a husband manipulates his wife into thinking that she's going mad so that he could steal her inheritance. So he manipulates his wife into thinking she has mental illness by dimming the gas fuel lights and telling her she's hallucinating. So this is the 1940s. So back then there was gas, I guess, kerosene fueled lamps. So he would flicker it and she would say, oh, there's something wrong with the lights. And he would deny it, even though he was the one doing it. So he's pretty much just gaslighting the public. The man is just a waste of time and resources. The world is dealing with so many serious, grave issues, so much uncertainty. And the fact that he wants to siphon our attention to him speaks to how entrenched he is in his narcissism. And I will make it my life's work exposing charlatans, fraudsters at any opportunity, because they are vampires. They suck our blood. They siphon our attention. They don't care about the damage that they leave in the way. I mean, imagine that up until the end, we must be thinking about him while the world is on the brink, hopefully not of nuclear war, inflated gas prices, inflated cost of food, the Ukraine crisis. I mean, we could go on and on. The Palestinian crisis, which is always ongoing, but yet we should be worried about you? Ridiculous. But that is my legal perspective. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think, whether you think the judge was heavy-handed. Do you think that he should sentence Jussie for more? What do you think about his spectacle in court? All opinions are respected. You could leave that in the comment section. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.